Gotta be ahead of the game. Have a better time next year.
Go ahead.
And that's what we
Nice.
How was the race for you, Ken?
It was kind of ill-prepared, discombobulated mess. You know, I made all kinds of, I felt like a rookie out there. I made all kinds of silly mistakes, and I mean, I came into the race wanting this to be just sort of a camping trip, you know, getting the dogs. I have a bunch of young dogs and just getting them, take them through the motions of a 1,000-mile race. And that's what we did. So, you know, it was a success, but all kinds of foibles and bumbles along the way, all my fault.
Any moment in particular come to mind?
Well, I tried a different sled that I only had just a couple runs on, because the one I had that I liked actually got destroyed in the Cusco. We had a really wild trail, and so I redid it a different way and only had a couple runs on, and that didn't work at all. And then I had some new harnesses that I was all excited about that I designed and used in some shorter races and a bit in training, and they worked great, but it turns out they were too wide in the chest, and you know, you don't see these issues in these shorter races and on training runs, but eventually it kind of rubbed the dogs. And so I was dealing with that the whole race. And we switched harnesses in Dawson City. I had my handler go through cold spot feeds when they drove around and buy some new harnesses. We just scrapped those ones and got some different ones, and then the rubs got better and better. So, but it was something I had to constantly deal with, and I'm sure the dogs weren't too excited about it.
Are you happy with how your dogs performed?
Yeah, well, my vision was that we would just run short and fast and rest long, just run cabin to cabin, and, you know, just eat and take long naps and speed to the next one, and it just, the race was so awkward because I never got into a rhythm just because of some issues with the trail and stuff. Like when I left Slavens, you know, I got all wet and just a couple hours out, and that kind of threw things off. And anyway, so I just kind of bumbled my way through everything, but always erred. The best thing you can do is just err on the side of extra rest. You know, you generally can't go wrong with that. So that's what I did, but it didn't produce the speed in the team that I was hoping for. But it's a hard dynamic to kind of pinpoint, because part of it is I wasn't like in race mode at all. You know, I was just kind of looking at the scenery and thinking about this and that, and the dogs key off that, you know. So when you're in race mode and focus, the dogs feel that energy and they mimic that, and so they perform better. I noticed that, like, from Brayburn in, you know, like all of a sudden I was like in this race for the first time, and I just switched my whole train of thought, and the team just took off. And it was interesting because I've never been here, and I did not know where this finish line was, but I was told it was about 15 miles back, so by numerous people. So we pushed for that, and it wasn't there, and then I had no idea how far we had to go. Ran into some French ladies that were on the side of the trail snapping pictures and laughing, and didn't know a lick of English. Asked them where the finish line was, and they just pointed that way. So it was kind of, it wasn't the best way to finish for my dogs, you know, because we pushed for that point, and then which I think it's good for the dogs to push them to the finish line. They like that, you know. It gives them, it charges them up, and, you know, makes them feel like they kind of gives closure to the whole thing, if you will. So that was a little bit deflating when we didn't see the finish line for another 2 hours. So But on the upside, I mean, I got to like socialize with people and see the country and get lots of rest, and so in that regard it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, the typical ups and downs.